Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, and innovation come together. My name is Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Etan Butler, founding chairman at Dalmore Group. Etan, great seeing you, and welcome to our Bold Talk series. How are you?
I'm doing great. It'd be great to be here.
Well, good to see you, and you're definitely have started a great company, and a company that is focused on the Reg A crowdfunding. Give us an inspiration. What started the Dalmor Group, and what motivated you to start the Dalmor Group?
So we started Dalmore Group, which is a FINRA and SEC registered broker-dealer in 2005.
Mhm.
And after spending about 10 years focused on institutional investment banking, we came across what is known as the Jobs Act of 2012. Between 2012 and 2015, a number of exemptions were enhanced and released and made available for companies to be able to raise capital online at scale and to grow their communities of investors and to really reach anyone over the age of 18 internationally in most jurisdictions. And we saw that as an opportunity to better understand and to set up infrastructure to help companies navigate capital raising activity in this environment. It's not only startups, but companies that have existing bases of customers, fans, and followers, or companies who want to position themselves to be able to market and promote an opportunity to raise capital for their business over the internet. And that's something that we specialize in and have been pretty exclusively focused on since that time.
Nice. Now, Etan, do you do you have your own platform, or how does it work?
Yes, we have our own platform, which is very different than what a platform typically is known for. There are platforms out there currently that operate more like marketplaces.
Yeah.
So what they're looking to do is they're looking to attract companies that are looking to raise capital, give them the impression that they have a big, adequate investor base, encourage them to go through a process to list their investment opportunity on that marketplace platform, amongst many other oftentimes competing offerings and issuers, including the platform's own offerings from time to time. And then the company has to go and market and promote this and then ultimately send their potential investors to a third-party marketplace. And that investor then could register on that platform and shop amongst many different opportunities. Our model is very different. It feels more like Shopify, if I had to use like an example, in that we position the company to become their own platform, right? It is on their own website, their own branding, where they're doing the marketing and promotion, or they're sending their potential investors to, or their customers to, but they're not pushing those investors to another third-party platform. The investors have the opportunity to purchase securities directly on the issuer's own domain, right? And that's a very different process. It's more direct, and it also gives the issuers, the founders, access to all the analytics that they need to measure the effectiveness of their marketing and promotional efforts, rather than spend the dollars on marketing and promotion and then send those investors kind of into a black box that becomes property of the marketplace that they would otherwise list on. So it's a very different model. Our issuers are building communities. They're not necessarily just using these exemptions once. There are some one and done capital raise exercises many of our issuers use, but there's a growing number of them that are setting up platforms to leverage these securities exemptions over and over again, to be able to raise with Reg A up to $75 million per year on a perpetual basis by keeping their offerings and their financials fresh. So that's what we're seeing. It's building their own community, and it's being the sole beneficiary of their own marketing and promotional efforts, and the conversion of their own customers, fans, and followers into hopefully becoming investors into the offering that they're making available.
What do you see as the most significant trends right now happening in this space of the equity I would say probably crowdfunding. Is that how you position yourself?
Yeah, it is crowdfunding. It's more online capital raising,
Yeah.
right? There's a number of these exemptions that are probably very confusing to many people. Regulation CF, Regulation A, Regulation D. Each has a different set of requirements, different process, different expenses. The ability to market to different types of people per se. But ultimately, our approach is more consultative because every company is a bit different. What they're looking to achieve, what business line they're in, who their customers are, what the demographic of a potential investor might look like. So it's really about how to harmonize and leverage each of these exemptions in some cases, or two at a time in some cases. That's really helpful to issuers. I would say a big trend that we're seeing in general is this generation is doing most of their activity and engagements in commerce and in investing and in banking on their iPhones, right? On devices. So that experience has to be really crisp and really intuitive if you're going to see effective results from marketing in general. So I'm seeing the betterment, the inclusion of better technology, of friction reduction, of more effective and predictable marketing and promotional techniques that resemble more like e-commerce than they might resemble more traditional investment banking. And we're seeing more issuers looking to take control of their own capital raise destiny, rather than simply and oftentimes unrealistically rely on venture capital or private equity, which they should do as well, right? But this is a different way that allows for a founder to go to create a legal mechanism to raise capital from their friends, family, network, customers, followers, and also through social media, right? Provided everything is compliant and everything is done properly. It opens up way more channels for companies to consider utilizing. And some of the positive effects of having a successful offering where you have hundreds or thousands of investors is that you have now hundreds or thousands of brand advocates, of folks that feel tied and unified in your mission and are probably more likely to consider using your product or share that service or that product with their own networks. So that's one of the bigger trends we're seeing are companies that are using these exemptions, building communities, really building equity value in that community base because they could take one offering to them, they could take another offering to them, and it could continue in that way.
Very interesting. Uh, Obviously, you've seen all types of styles of leadership. Dealing with the founders and CEOs, different companies coming through your platform. Uh, Talk about your style of leadership. How do you define it, and what principles guide your decision making?
I mean, transparency, no shortcuts. As you get older, you realize that ultimately, those things don't last. So you really need to surround yourself with quality, reputable people. You need to appreciate the value and the importance of compliance, especially in the regulated world. The compliance culture and infrastructure is critical, and ultimately you want to really hone in to the actual needs of the potential clients that you're looking to accommodate so that you don't get too caught in the weeds with your own analysis. You remember to focus on the specific needs and how to convey those needs to issuers who are in situations that they're relying on you for advice. They're looking for solutions to make their dream a reality. So my personal style is to surround myself with folks that are smarter than me in what they do, on the technology side, on the operations side, on the support side, on the legal side, on the compliance side, because it takes a team, and it takes that team becoming an orchestra and working together efficiently to add value and to push follow through and to push towards results and to make pivots and changes. We see ourselves at kind of at the forefront of the crowdfunding or the online capital raising industry. And with that comes an opportunity to innovate and to observe what is working well and what isn't, and to pivot and to make changes because it is so early on in this industry in general, right? It's just been a few years. And so, that my style is clearing my head to be creative and focused on where I see the industry going, and having the right team members in place that could really help execute that vision.
Yeah. It's kind of like a team sport, right? So it's getting them to play together and um, with the right rhythm and moving
Yeah,
in the right direction.
yeah.
And you as the founder leading that team to success. Now, Hayden, what is your approach? Obviously, there's when you try new things and the innovation comes without comes without saying comes with many failures behind. What
Yeah.
is your approach to failure when trying new things, and how do you encourage that risk taking? You're in a very regulated environment.
You need to be very strategic about it, especially when you're a business that's thriving and has many clients, right? So failure is not a good thing from one perspective, but it also is critical as far as innovation. You want to try new things, you want to fail fast. And that is an absolute requirement if you're going to do anything substantial, because you're constantly pivoting and making improvements. It's not necessarily a failure. It's more part of the process, and it's a pivot. But I encourage folks to fail fast, and because you can get very trapped psychologically in your own head, waiting for something to be perfect and miss the boat. Or you could do the best version of what you believe, as long as it's compliant, as long as it's ethical, as long as it's you have a reason for it and you have a plan in place. You need to try new things, because there's massive room for improvement in so many different components of what goes into a successful capital raise, from a technology perspective, a marketing perspective, a friction reduction perspective, a syndication perspective, right? Which exemptions to use. You need to constantly be looking at the data and making adjustments to your process and flows. And that's why you need a team with leadership that handles each of these different divisions, and they have to work together and communicate well together to create the best environment and solution for companies and founders.
Yeah, very good point. What does bold mean to you? The word bold.
Bold means something that you stand out, something that stands out from the pack, something that has a lot of oomph to it, right? Something that has that has power to it, and ultimately something that resembles someone moving forward on the right foot, on the right footing, from my perspective, right? And so it's not the same old, same old. It is something that is new, revolutionary, helpful, relevant, and stands out from the pack.
Fantastic. And with that, definitely you guys are standing out with Dalmore Group. Always be bold, Etan. Congrats to all of your achievements. Thank you for joining me in this Bold Talk series. And look forward to seeing you soon. Until next time, take care, be great, and be bold always.
Thanks, brother. Great to be here. Take care.